All right, welcome to the show, guys. Welcome to the show. Um, we got a power show today. We've got a very absolute power show today, and we're going to talk about this. This is very important. So today's power show, what I'm trying to say is we're going to talk about centralization and decentralization in cryptocurrency, especially, right? What is decentralization? What is centralization? How does it work? And this is kind of in relation to what one of my latest members on Discord actually mentioned. Ridwan, he's also a new subscriber. Thank you very much for subscribing. I think he subscribed 2 days ago. So yeah, I mean, awesome to see new subscribers asking me questions, and we love these kind of questions. Very, very good question. And one other person as well asked another question. We're going to talk about this as well, right? So what Rids actually posted is this here. I don't know if you can see this. So he posted, he said, let me just double check the stream and see what's going on. Give me a second. Let me see if I can see what's going on. Right. Just see if the stream is live or is it bugged out. Well, it's telling me the stream is live. For some reason the notification is not working. Hi Matt, we think it's falling or what? We are going to talk about this, bro. So just bear with me. We will talk about this. But what I want to do is I want to show you. So let's talk about the subjects on hand. So Rids asked me a question on Discord, and I think it's a very good question, basically. And I think if I can answer this, it will open up a lot of eyes, right, and a lot of minds. It will definitely open this. So what he was saying was, check this, Elrond is the most decentralized blockchain right now. This is his opinion, or based on the fact, right? So he's giving me a fact. It only has 3,200 nodes, and it's the most decentralized blockchain. I agree with you looking at this fact, but we want to talk about what is decentralization and what is centralization. It's very important to understand and get a different perspective to it. So that kind of opens your eyes and says, actually, is it really decentralized or is it centralized? And this relates to any cryptocurrency, any blockchains out there running nodes. Okay, it will be very interesting to understand what I'm about to say here, right? So that's what you're going to understand. Also, we've got another question here, which I actually, so where is it? So let's go back into this one. So this is Vision. Vision said trading news is very bad. So what he's saying is whenever news comes out and if you trade it, it's very bad. And I completely agree with him. It's absolutely bad unless you know what you're doing, right? Sometimes you don't need to trade. So trading is not the most important thing. It's more to do use the news as a catalyst to what the next move should be. So if you're an investor and you're following the money, I think this was relation to yesterday's video that I posted, right? And I said every crypto investor needs to check out the news, because if the news they're coming out with, we're buying this company, we're buying that company, we're investing money into this company, and when you got companies like Galaxy Digital, for example, yesterday's video I mentioned Galaxy Digital, they invested 23 million into a project called Argo. It's good to look into it, because we know that whether it passes or fails is a different story, but that's a project they're pumping money into. There's definitely something going on. Like, for example, today we had a news breakout where Algo is raising millions of money, and they're about to do something as well. So we got to look at these things and understand that, of course, these positive news coming out are going to hype some people, but as a disciplined investor, what are you going to do? You're going to take that information and you're going to move forward with it, right? But I think this video, the power part, is one to do with the convergence divergence, looking at the decentralization, centralization, and all of this point, but more to do with this, right? So this is, I know who this is. He's on YouTube as well, and he's subscribed to me a few days ago as well. I think last week he subscribed to me, and he's been mentioning this, and I do like what he's saying, and there's no offense taken here or any offense given back to you. Honestly, I'm just being honest with you. And remember, the videos I make, my videos are continuations of the same thing. My charts do not change, and I'll prove that to you in a bit, right? You can go to any video in the past and you can see how my charts have evolved over time, but they've never ever changed like every day, or I don't show you a blank chart. I mean, I will show you a few blank charts today just to kind of prove my point, but there is a few bits and bobs you have to understand, right? And then he was mentioning right at the end how, there's a bear market possibility, and I've talked about that as well. Again, if you go back to my videos, you'll understand what all of this means. And he's talking about how we might be basically, this might be the top, and we might be building another base around the 45K, which is awesome. And he's saying, based on his experience, right, if we stay on the sideways movement too long, we could go down. Absolutely fine. This is your opinion, and I agree with it. That's not an issue. I agree with everybody, right? Because the fact is, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. That's a fact. Nobody has a crystal ball. We can only use the chart in order to, calculate or say, right, okay, this is the probability or this is not the probability. And it's on any chart, by the way. It's not the crypto. It's every single chart on the planet, right? So then he was mentioning right at the end how we see a bearish divergence pattern on the SOL and FTM. And I'm going to talk about this as well. And then he sees an ETC rally. And this is where I picked up on. I said, okay, fine. I see ETC rally. No problem, right? So we're going to go into this quickly. And we're going to talk about this. So let's do this. Let's go into the chart and let's talk about this, right? Because there's a lot of information there. And I think one of the most important things is we need to open our eyes and actually see the market for what it is, right? So we leave all of this for now. I'm not going to talk about... so what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and kill two birds with one stone, if that makes any sense, right? Let's try and see if we can do this, right? Let's attempt this, right? So what I want to do is I want to go into the BTC chart. And what I've done here, as you can see on the BTC, you can see this is the BTC on a one-day index chart, right? What I've done is I've put a few markers, and these markers are in relation to ETC. So you can see on the ETC, I've got the same markers on the same date, right? And you can see the date on the bottom. When I put the cursor here, you can see that the dates show up on the bottom, right? So when I specifically put it there, you can see 17th of April. So we're looking at these dates. Now, what I've done is I've traveled back in time, and I said, right, let's look at this, the day when we dumped, right? The day when the entire market dumped, the corona dump, right? So we can see this date was the 12th of March, right? And we want to follow this same date, the 12th of March, which is here. So we have a convergence here. Everything is confirming that that was the day when the entire market dumped. Happy days, right? And then what I did was I said, okay, I'm going to follow ETC, and I'm going to see what ETC has done. And by the way, just a brief introduction to ETC. If any one of you guys have been following me from day one on this channel, you may have noticed that there was a one point when we talked about ETC on the channel, and how I said the ETC is ETH 1.0. Current Ethereum is ETH 2.0. And the Ethereum 2.0 is going to be technically an Ethereum 3.0. Why? Original Ethereum was this. And this was the main reason, which I think I didn't explain, right? I think some people know, but I haven't explained to on the videos. The reason I never entered Ethereum until 2019 was because of ETC. ETC is the original Ethereum code. Right, this is the original Ethereum code. In fact, so Ethereum operates on Geth. I don't know if you knew about this, right? Or Weth, I think it's called Rep. No, Geth. It operates on Geth. So the biggest nodes are run on Geth, and this is the original code. It got abandoned, I think in 2015 or 2016. It was abandoned because of a DAO hack, right? And after the hack, Vitalik Buterin, who decided, said, look, we're going to basically fork it, and we're going to create the new Ethereum and refund everybody its money. And that's what kind of got me a little bit of, how would I say this? It made me very skeptical. It's like, okay, you're calling yourself a decentralized protocol from day one. You sold your tokens, you did X, Y, Z. And today, because of a simple glitch, you decide to fork the whole thing. So how many more times can you do this? Are you truly decentralized or not? And we're going to get into the decentralized part about this as well. Are you truly decentralized or not? Because if you have the power to just fork it and make a brand new chain and refund everybody, is that a chain I want to be on? Because that gives you the power to fork it any other time. That doesn't really make it decentralized. If someone's lost money, they've lost money. That's what I believe, right? And that means that chain is immutable, but you can't go around creating brand new chains and taking everybody on board to the new one. Of course, people who lost money may have agreed to it, but, and it could have been a one-off thing, but ultimately it just didn't make any sense. And that's one of the reasons why I actually did own a lot more ETC back in the days as one of my altcoins, one of my first batch of altcoins. I did own ETC because I believed in it, right? The community. And I did, I sold it sometime. I think I sold it back in 2019 or 2020. I sold some, right? During the peak. But the point here I'm trying to make is this is the original Ethereum. Do you know what I mean? So ETC definitely is one of those coins. It's getting a lot of attention. In fact, I think Charles Hoskinson, who left so when Charles Hoskinson left, when Gavin Wood from Polkadot, when he left, they didn't leave Ethereum, the one you know. They left this, and then this became ETC, and they kind of abandoned it, right? Community carried on. But now what you've got is Charles Hoskinson saying, look, I want to help. I think there's an opportunity. So he's trying to build competition as well. He's trying to improve it. He's asking for proposals and all sorts of other stuff regarding the foundation and so much more, right? So I don't want to go too long into depth of this. I'm not going to review ETH, right? ETC. But this is what ETC is in short, right? ETC is the original Ethereum that was abandoned, okay? So of course it's a coin. It's there. It's got everything, right? So leave that aside. Let's go into what we're looking at today, right? So we've got this major dump that happened, and then we can calculate how many days. So we've got 304 bars, which is 304 days before it broke out of this sideways channel. So it was in this sideways channel. All right, and if we do the price, we can actually check the price. So what was the low? So currently the low that we had was around $4.50, and the highs we had was around $8. So we were hovering between $4 and $8 between this time. And the only time Ethereum ETC, Ethereum Classic, decided to make a move was approximately here on this particular candle. As you can see, it broke that previous high, right? And when we look at previous high, we're not talking about these, we're talking about channel high. So it broke the channel on this specific candle on the 10th of January. Okay, that's what it did. So we go back to BTC and we say, okay, fine. What happened on the 10th of January for BTC? It did this. So just on the 10th of January, it had a slight dump. But I've got the facts here, so I want to show you another fact. So what did it really do, right? So it did from $4.50 to $8, 148%. Happy days, right? So we know that we did this particular thing. It was awesome. In fact, what's happened with the chats, this is what I hate about this. Sometimes the chat just disappears. Let me try and get the chat, guys. Give me a second. Let me just refresh. Hate this when the chat just vanishes. I don't even know who's on the chat, who's not. It just vanishes all of a sudden. Where are we? See, and also I'm trying to, yep, oh, there you are, Matt. Look at that. Only message I actually saw before was the first question Matt asked. After that, Dr. Roro, you received a notification. Awesome, bro. Matt, bearing with me. I love you, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Take into macroeconomic factors, high inflation, possible increase in interest rates will affect crypto. I think people are scared of what will happen, what can happen. And I'm included. Absolutely, bro. Definitely. Okay, we'll add that onto the question. Definitely. We'll definitely add this on, right? Yes, the chat's working now. Dr. Roro, I can see you here, bro. Awesome. Thank you very much for confirming the chat works now. So yeah, it's working. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let's have a look at this, right? So we'd had Ethereum Classic pump, the only pump, for the difference. So let's not call it a pump, let's call it a difference. The difference from the dump to the top here, and I'm being fair to the point where I'm actually doing it. If I just want to zoom in just to show you, look, right to the point of where the market high was, right? And then here I'm doing it to the actual candle where the dump was. So I'm not even including this, right? So I'm being fair, and I'm going to do the same thing with both of them. So what we see is this 140% difference from the bottom to the top. That's all we're seeing. But keep an eye on this date, right? And then when we look at BTC, we see the exact same thing, and I'm being fair with it just to zoom in to show you, because I'm not going to give you some data that doesn't exist. I'm going to give you only what's there. Remember, I don't claim to be the TA guy. I don't claim to be the biggest data analyst out there. I don't claim to be the biggest famous guy out there. No, none of that business. I'm only going to give you facts that are on the charts, right? What I see on the chart, and that is something undeniable. Nobody can deny what we see on the chart, and we cannot tell you what's not on the chart. It doesn't exist. That's the fact, right? We can only have probabilities and likelihoods based on other fundamentals and other facts, and that's what I'm about to give to you right now. So I know we're gonna get into decentralization and decentralization in a second, right? Because that is very important, and I think that kind of comes into what Matt is asking as well. So it's going to relate a little bit to this. So we're going to talk about this, right? It's going to be awesome. So we've got this situation here, as you can see, right? This is the Corona dump. From the Corona dump to the 10th of January. So this specific candle here, as you can see, this dump here, BTC went on a tear. BTC went on a tear. It did a 794%. It did a 794%, and then it took a break. It took a little bit of a breather. What happens whenever BTC takes a breather? Well, then altcoins start to move. And that's when altcoins moved. And why does this happen? Because I've talked about it many times. I said, look, BTC is currently, and I'm not saying in the future it will be possible. Currently, BTC is the king, is the leader, market leader. When BTC makes a move, everything moves. When BTC decides to take a nap, everybody takes a nap, right? Oh, sorry, actually, when BTC takes a nap, everybody else decides to overtake it. And when BTC takes a sneeze, then everybody falls, right? You know what I mean? It's one of those kind of things, right? So this is the situation we've got. Actually, let me get rid of all of this, right? So this is the situation we've got. So we're looking at these dates. And then I'm following these dates. I'm like, okay, this is when it pumped. This is the green candle, when it pumped, right? A blue candle, whatever you want to call it, pumped. So I'm looking at these dates and I'm seeing, look, every time BTC prints a red, another alt moves. And this is not just ETC, by the way. I can show you the entire market if we have time. Give me 1,000 hours and I'll give you 11,000 coins that did the exact same thing. But we're just using ETC as an example solely because of what Vision asked. And I said, you know what, I'd rather use that as a sample to show you guys how the market reacts, right? So we have this, this BTC takes a little bit of a sneeze. Or a nap. This is not a sneeze, this is a nap. And what happens? Something decides to pump. Then we have another one here, for example, another pump, right? We have this shooting pump here, which is great. And also keep an eye on the volume, by the way. All the time I'm talking, keep an eye on the volume because you want to see how the volume is reacting as well. Look at these volumes, right? And you'll see what all of this makes. And I'll show you the same thing. So I'm going to keep on going back and forth, right? Just to show you. So next one, we've got 13th of February. So let's move back here and keep an eye on the volume. So you see where the activities are here, right? Less activity, more activity, fine. So we have this 13th of February, where BTC decides to take a bit of a nap again, right? It's a red candle. Every time, look at it. Is that a coincidence? It's a red candle. Takes a bit of a nap. ETC decides to pump. Where's the next one? Next one's here. Creates another all-time high, right? Let's go here, 17th April, right? So next one, 17th April. Is this a coincidence? No. Look, BTC decides to take a nap. What happens? Everything pumps. And then what happens? This is when the market kind of goes into shit, right? Where is it? Sorry, I'm mixing up things. Okay, so next one. I ran out of space. So next one, we have this dump. So far, ETC is doing awesome, right? It's pumped. It's created its brand new highs and everything is doing fantastic, right? And then it has BTC sneezes. BTC, 19th of May, BTC sneezes and literally dumps and takes the market with it. What happens? So this was ETC, right? So you're looking at ETC, you can look at BTC, does the same thing on that one candle here on the 19th. You see what I mean? On the 19th, right? We're doing this. So these are the dates I'm looking at. Okay, 9th May. What did I put on 9th May? Let me see if I put something on the 9th May. 9th May, where is it? This is 6th May. Why did I put 6th May? Okay, so 6th May, we can see this pump, but I actually put the candle on the wrong place. I put it on the... Oh, no, I did put it on the 6th May. It is on the 6th May. So 6th May, again, BTC takes a bit of a nap. ETC basically decides to pump. Then we have this one here, 19th May. And we have this one here on the 19th May. And then, what's this? 24th May. Let's have a look. Did I put one on the 24th May? 24th May. So the market starts to recover on the 24th May. After that, and we're looking at ETC right now, is this giving us confirmation that the market wants to pump? And let's use this data. Let's use all of this range here, for example. Let's use all of this range. And let's do some calculations, right? Let's just put this as a range box and say where we are right now. This is what this entire market has been doing right now. Let's go back into BTC and see if BTC's been doing the same as well. Absolutely doing the same thing. So when we look at these kind of data, and let's just change, I mean, it doesn't matter how big it is. Guys, I'm not working on percentage here. I just don't want to show you percentage. Let's just be real here, right? Let's call all of this as a sideways movement. Mini sideways movement here, another sideways, that's fine. Let's just add it all up and just say this is all sideways movement. But if you look carefully, almost the same thing. It's trying to make a move. It's doing its thing, but ultimately it's on a sideways movement because it hasn't gone to that area. This looks very familiar to me, like this. And when I look at BTC, when I look at this area, looks very familiar to me, more similar to here, this area here. Not even this. So of course you're right. If you say that, okay, we have these sideways movement and we might come down, that's fine. That's fine. But in order for us to have a confirmation that we're going down, do you know what we have to really, really do? And that's the fact. We have to break this neckline here. So the 40,000, the 40, the 39,000, the 20,000, none of this matters, and what I mean by all of those, and I'll actually bring my chart over to show you. All right. Look, this is a chart that I've had for some time. And if I can, let me switch off some of this, right? Hold on. I want to show you this. There is going to be some noise, but it's important you understand all of this noise. Every one of these yellow lines is an options expiry date. Number one fact. All right. You cannot change this fact. Every last Friday of the month is an options expiry date. And what we see is we have either a pump or a dump exactly after that date. So we can see every single time the pattern is over and over again. This is a pattern, market pattern. It doesn't matter what season we're in, whether we're pumping up or we're pumping down. It doesn't matter. If you look at my red box, I've had this box there, and I'm going to make this brighter for everybody so everyone can see this. I've had this there for some time. Not only have I had this there for some time, I've also had two other boxes there. And this box here, for example, 58,848, very specific number. I've mentioned bull market continues. So Vision, look, it's there, bro. It's always been there. I understand that you've joined this channel, recently. You haven't seen this, but look, it's been there the whole time. This bull market continues. That's what I've said. Anything below this, I said it could be a fake out, similar to how the market has done it previously. Previous fake outs we've had, like where previous time we come back to test and we fail, except this time it doesn't look like it's going to fail, because previously, if you look carefully, every time it did this, it did it on a shorter time frame. So we had this power move back up, and we got declined and we came down, right? That's the bear market, start of a bear market, right? So I'm only giving you probabilities based on what I'm seeing, right? Again, look, 2013, right? We had the same thing. And when we calculate something, and this is what we see this test coming in, for example, we're just going to take the day. So this test came in 41 days, right? So within 41 days of this top, we had this test coming in, right? Another time, for example, and I'll show you, these are facts that you cannot deny, right? Here's another one. Let's find the days. So let's use this candle here, right? 15 days, and then we failed, right? So these are failed rallies, right? So this is 2013. Let's use 2017. Let's do a failed rally in 2017. How many days did it take us, right? So we attempted to come back to that top, right? And here we go. For example, we had 22 days here. Absolutely facts, right? We cannot deny that, right? But we had something very, very different on this particular occasion. This is what we had. This was the market top. This was the attempt. This was the attempt. Let me try and get it on a black space for you just to show you the number. This was the attempt, 148 bars. So if it's 148 bars, this would have been the failed rally, which brings it down. But so far, what we've done is we've come down. Absolutely. This was a failed rally. This was the point where we should have been afraid. But then what we did was we created this, we created this pattern where we created these higher highs on the low, right? We got rejected again, and then we came back to test it, and we broke above this neckline. This one neckline here. And whenever we talk about market dumps and pumps, so if you let me try and see if I can show you. Actually, let me do it this way. I'm going to just temporarily delete everything just to show you. Give me a second. So when you look at this, right, where we are today, let's use this today, right? And let's use just the candle here. For us to invalidate this whole thing, so for example, this section here, actually here, let's just do it here. So let's just put a line here, for example. I'll put it here. So for us to invalidate this run up and, this momentum up, we have to come to the 50% mark. Anything below 50% mark actually is going to show bearish to us. And it's going to say, right, guys, we could be in an extended bear market, right? But again, there's another view to that, and I'll explain that in a bit, right? So that's what we got, a bear market. We're going to look at this, right? So that's where we could come. But I want to bring my lines back. And why I want to bring the lines back, I'll show you. So hold on, let me delete this. We don't need this. I was doing something else, right? So I talked about how if you do the entire market cap and you look at the Fibonacci lines, this is the last line of support. And the last line of support I find was the 27,329, right? For us to go into an extended bear market. But at the same time, I put a range here and I said, look, if you look at this range here, between 21 and there's another chart, and I'll show you the other chart. It's all there, guys. I've never changed my chart. My charts, because one thing I do, I don't know if you've seen me do this before. I have my autosave switched off, and this allows me to save at my own leisure whenever I want. So I don't have an issue, when I'm trying to save something specific and very important, right? So not this chart. Sorry, my bad. Not this chart. Give me a second, guys. Sorry, not this chart. I think it's this chart. No, it's this chart. Sorry, here. No, it's not this one. I'm lost. Where's my 90? Oh, no, it is this chart. Sorry, my bad. It is this chart. Here. So, one second, guys. Let me grab the door. Sorry, guys. All right. And again, look, I'm just reading the chat as well. And what Matt said, it makes absolute sense, right? The market is on a, like, genuine coins will always grow. That's very important. Genuine coins will always grow. And BTC is going to be, currently BTC is the power that's moving everything. It's like the train that carries everything with it. And when it moves up a little bit, everything else moves up a little bit slower. When BTC takes a break, everything just shoots over and takes over that dominance. And that's got to do with the dominance. But this is the chart I wanted to show you guys. You see here, 19,645. This is the low I'm expecting. This is a chart that's pinned on the Discord chat. All right, you can see it on the Discord main chat. I've pinned this as a picture, and I've even said to many people months ago, we've talked about this. Right, and this was way before we were even in the 65. Months ago, we talked about this and we said, look, the worst case scenario for us in a bear market, the lowest price we could be expecting is $19,000. We've been talking about this, right? We've been talking about how every single line here is relevant based on fundamentals from previous history. We've talked about this, right? We've talked about how for the bull market to stay alive and continue, we have to stay minimum 50% above the market. So currently, what is the 50% of the market, right? So for us to find the 50% of the market, it's very simple. So the market cycle, when we're looking at the market cycle, and I'll zoom into this, and I'm not talking about the trend, I'm talking about the market. This is a much more powerful tool. When you look at market cycle, so you take the low, you take the top, and the market cycle middle, currently, hold on, my bad. Let me show you the market cycle middle. Because I'm doing it downwards, I shouldn't be doing it downwards, I should be doing it upwards. Because that's the market cycle. So the cycle brought us here, and if we put a single line to the center, the market cycle, yeah, is here. So the market cycle middle is actually 15,000. Would you believe this? So on a 1500% pump, our market cycle middle would be this particular area here, 16,000. So it's less than 19. So the worst case scenario is worse than what I think it is. But based on one fundamental, and I've noticed this over and over again, is that we never go back to the previous all-time highs. So based on that, we've got this 20,000 mark. I might be off by a little bit, but guys, it's not about accuracy. It's about just the probability, right? Why do we say this? Because again, if we look back in time, we'll notice that in history, we've never gone back to those levels, right? It doesn't matter where we were. We've never gone back to those levels. You see what I mean? If you look carefully, look, This is how we've been doing it every cycle. I mean, we can even use these data as well, but these data are not relevant because those were when the market was kind of immature, started. It was a handful of people trading, maybe a few million here and there. I wouldn't really count any of this data. The main data I would actually count is this, all of this data. This is what I would count. And also, when I'm taking into account one other thing is the supply. We had, only a few million supply liquid around here, and now we have we have about 18.8 million, I believe, supply. Let me have a look. Confirm this 100%. Let's give you data. Look, yes, 18.8 million supply. That's what we have. So how many remaining? We only have about 2 point something remaining. I think 2.2 million remaining. So we've got 2.2 million BTC remaining, and we know the last one is going to be in 2140. And so do the institutions. They all know. And based on this one fundamental, where is it? Here. Based on this one, is it this one? Oh, this one. This one. So based on this one fundamental, I've particularly said, and let me bring on to the weekly because it's better. I'll show you this. I've particularly said something, and I actually even drew a line, and I'll show you that other chart where I drew that line, right? I literally took this level here, and I put this whole mark here, and I said, this is what we've got. So what I'm doing is I'm just looking for these bottoms, right? So if you just take these bottoms, right? Look, this was the first time I believe the markets actually created its bottoms, right? So if you take these bottoms, and I said, look, where we are right now, and I'll show you that chart in a second. I do have it. Where we are right now, we're below this. We have this trend line. We broke this trend line back in 2018. And for me, when we broke this trend line, but the supply is decreasing, and the price is increasing, it only indicates one thing. And we talked about this the other day as well regarding who was it? I forgot who it was. There was a big company who mentioned how Bitcoin could go to $10 million a coin. And I said, yeah, this is based on this, because we are now currently below this line. If we go above this line, we are in the millions. You know what I mean? So this is what I see. And I always say, is this actually a bear market? Is any bear market a bear market? No. A bear market literally means the market is not moving, or the market is scared. That's all a bear market literally means. A bull market literally means everybody's hyping up, everybody's positive, everybody wants to move forward. But ultimately, when you look at this, right, the curve that we've had, and I'll draw another curve just to show you. All right, ultimately, when you're looking at this curve that we've had, we're still going up. The prices are just going, the prices has never come back to the previous prices. The only time we should be really scared, right, is if all of a sudden we have a dump and we come back below this previous high. That's scary. And so far, everything is indicating that that's the worst case scenario, $15,000. If we come to this, guys, we're wrecked. I'm out. I'm honest. I'm out. I don't want to be in it, because that means this whole crypto Bitcoin has failed. If this happens, if we ever pop back to these previous lows, Bitcoin's failed. Very simple. There's no ifs and buts about it, because that kind of changes this trajectory and brings it back down here, and that means now this is not a secure asset of value. This, there's no value. I'm not going to protect my money here anymore. This has the potential to actually destroy me. So this is the kind of thing you have to understand, right? But yeah, coming back to ETC, sorry, I just got off track a little bit. Ultimately, what I'm trying to say here, look, every single altcoin, and we do follow the altcoin market and the Bitcoin market, and every single altcoin will, money will filter down. So when people take profits from the big boys, they will filter it down to the little boys, right? So you take money from the big boys, if you're not feeling comfortable. I did that the other day. I took money out of other alts and I put it into Solana, right? And my God, was it a good bet to play? Why? Because I wanted to hedge against Bitcoin, my favorite coin. I wanted to hedge myself against my favorite coin because I knew there was a dump coming and I needed to back myself up so I don't lose anything. And I can tell you guys, I'm not just break even, I'm in profit. Even though this has been dumping, I'm actually still in profit because of the Solana. You know what I mean? So this, you have to, sometimes you can use the alts, because we know when one coin does something. So when BTC pumps, Solana doesn't pump, or other altcoins don't pump because they slow down. When they stop and take a break, and I'm including Ethereum as well, right? And I'll talk about Ethereum centralization versus decentralization. They start pumping. When we have altcoins still pumping, right? The major altcoins like eGold and this and that still pumping. And that's going to take me into the divergence, right, of a bearish divergence. We're going to talk about this, right? When we see them pumping and creating all-time highs, well, there's only one message there for us, right? And the message is very simple, right? We don't even have to look at the chart. Forget the chart. In fact, this chart, I mentioned to everybody, I said, guys, this was the perfect buy zone. If you want to pick up some, because after that, we're going back up. I mentioned this, and as you can see, it just happened, right? But we've got this bearish divergence here. You see what I'm talking about? We've got this bearish divergence forming here, right? When you look at this chart, you can see the RSI, right? Look, bearish, because we were peaking high, and in fact we went above the 70, and in my pattern is 75, so I give it 5 more. Look, we were overbought. It's screaming it wants to come down, and we can see the stochastic RSI, the blue line, the leading blue line, is already coming down, and we're just waiting for the red line to come down, and then the blue line to come down even further, and then the blue line to flip over to be bullish again. So this is a bearish divergence, and this is also confirming bearish. So we have a convergence, a bearish convergence on this chart, telling us that that's a confirmation we are definitely overbought. We need to calm down, right? So that data here, for example, this data that we have here, is confirming it's coming down. But why is it happening? Has anybody asked this question? I mean, chart analysts, we look at it and say, oh, we have a bearish divergence, we have a bullish divergence, we have a convergence, we have this, we have that. But why is this happening? Can anybody explain that? It was very simple. It's happening because this is on a parabolic rise, right? So whenever something goes on a parabolic rise, it's flashing warnings saying, guys, get out. So what do I do at this time? I would usually take my initial investment out and then just sit on my profit, because that means there is a correction coming. Everything was screaming a correction is coming. But is this the absolute? No. We can have a divergence forming provided the market is constantly going in, and what that means is too much attention is being paid, and this is going parabolic. This is keep on going up. This line can stay up there. So for example, let me come back into that chart, that place there, right? Let me come back into there. So we can see that we've had a bearish divergence forming on Solana since, and I'm going to put a date on it. Here you go, 14th, right? Let's see if I can find one. Where is it? Well, I don't have it. So anyway, because I do have a tool for it. So let me just put this line here. This is the 14th. So you can see the date here, 14th, right? We have this date. We've had this since the 14th of August. 14th of August, we've had this bearish divergence forming on Solana since the 14th. So if people are talking about bearish divergence, they should have got out here. Get the hell out. Stay out. Don't come back again. But then again, I talk about this as well. I say sometimes, guys, you got to ignore what you see. Because if the momentum is up, then there's no way that you're going to take this into account. If the momentum is up, we can ignore these, because that means the psychology is in there right now, not the chart. The chart facts are telling us to get out. So as a great investor, what we should have been doing is buying here, selling here, and getting the hell out, right? So this particular date. Look, we are so good traders, we're going to get out here and we're going to wait for the market to come back down here. And Solana, the momentum and the trend is saying, screw you, I ain't coming back. And this is what it's done, look. Because we know the money has been filtering in from coins like BTC, coins like Ethereum. It's been filtering in. A lot of people are bearish on Ethereum because Ethereum hasn't done anything, it's dead. BTC hasn't done anything, it's dead. Come on, it's dead. I mean, how many months has it been, right? Let's have a look at this, right? Excuse me 1 second. Right, how many months has it been since we've been dead? Let me delete all of this, right? Look, it's on the weekly. You know, BTC is dead. BTC has been dead since May to now, right? To this particular week, 17 bars. Guys, come on. That's over 4 months. We've been dead for 4 months. So what do you expect? You know, 4 months dead. Well, of course, these things are going to take advantage, you know. And if you look carefully, look when they started taking that advantage, and you look carefully, this is when BTC dumped and Solana's taken advantage of that. Do you see what I mean? You can see this sideways action movement, and then it broke out of that pattern, and then it just shot up. It didn't care anymore. Because why? Is Solana in control? No, you, the retail, me, we are in control. We say, well, BTC is dead. Let's put it into something else and pump it up. And that's how we pump this coin to position number 6. And we're not far. Look, we're about to take over Tether very soon if this continues. And we can even come and challenge Binance. We're not far. Do you see what I'm trying to say here? We can come here. We can even challenge this. If Cardano could go from God knows where, it was down here somewhere, to position number 3, you think Solana can't? I'm telling you, Solana can. If Solana can do that, guess who else could do that? Guess who's going to be competing for this top 10 rank? And it's coming. I'm not going to talk about DOT right now. I've talked about DOT. It's not ready. It's getting ready to break out. When DOT breaks out, it's going to shock everybody. Leave that. Terra Luna's coming to challenge it. Terra Luna's saying, well, you could do it. Well, why can't I do it? I'm only 15 billion market cap. I'm 3x below you. Look, I'm 3x below you. So why can't I challenge you? But how is Luna going to challenge it? Luna fans are going to challenge it. Luna fans are going to take the money from Solana profits and pump it into Terra Luna. Or if they're like me, they have both. You pump it into both of them, right? If they're like me, they will also, and this is what I'm going to do. For example, I have a whole bunch of this. I'll pump it into this. Look at this, 10 billion. This is 1/5 of Solana. If Solana could do it, if Cardano could do it with nothing. Cardano, remember, Cardano had nothing. Cardano's smart contract launches tomorrow. Cardano's smart contract will launch tomorrow, and even then we don't know if it's going to be 100%. If it does, it goes to the moon. If it's all great, if it's not, if it's a failure, it goes to the depths of nowhere to be seen, right? And so that's what we're going to be waiting for tomorrow. Biggest news: Cardano stays on number 3 or dumps all the way down to number 20. Do you know what I mean? That's the case. It sticks around number 3. I'm not going to say number 2 because it sticks around number 3, goes to 100 billion, or it dumps all the way down to nothing. Do you know what I mean? So that's what happens. But what happens to that fund, the money that comes out? Well, I'll tell you, I can assure you it's going to go into Solana. It's going to go either into Solana, Polkadot, Terra Luna, Avalanche, Algorand. Where's the other one? It's coming, right? Where is it? eGold. Why am I saying this? These are blockchains. That's where the money's going to filter down to, right? And when I'm looking at eGold, right, let's do an eGold one. We talked about this yesterday. What was the target for Solana? You don't make this up. This was yesterday's chart. I haven't changed it. eGold. What was the target? 1618251. What did we go to? 249. I was $2 off. Was I $2 off? No, the chart was $2 off. Right? The chart, one second, my chat just disappeared. Let me come back again. I hope this is making sense to you guys. If you like the content, if you like what I'm talking about, if you can see what I'm seeing as well, I really appreciate you giving me a nice little thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. It does really help the channel grow and get more people on, right? But look, you know, what we want to do is obviously with the likes, you want more people to come onto the channel. That's what it is, guys. That's what it is. So anyway, we hit that. And again, what you can see here is we've got this divergence forming, right? This divergence forming on the RSI, right? And the stochastic RSI is also leading in there. And it's saying that, of course, it can come down. Do you know what I mean? So we can see all of this data suggesting that it's heated up. It needs to come down. But can it stay above there for some time? Of course it can. Sometimes it can stay there. You can see for days. It doesn't matter, right? So we need to also follow the momentum. You know, is this the end? No. Do you know what I mean? Because we've had this. We went up there, we tested it, and I mentioned this yesterday as well. I said, look, we're going to see a stronger rejection here than we saw at that particular level. Yesterday, I remember it was, let me show you. Yesterday, we were seeing a rejection around here, and I mentioned it specifically at that time, and I said, guys, this rejection is nothing compared to what's about to come. The one that's going to come is going to be a bigger one. Why? Because this was the previous all-time high. So anytime we go back to the all-time high, we do see these massive, massive rejections that you can't help. Let me get some coffee. Right. So you end up seeing these massive rejections that you can't help, right? So that's what's happened here. Now, if we can break above this rejection point, so where we are today, right? So the next hypothesis is if we can break above this and confirm a candle above. So what we're looking at is this specific line here, right? This specific line here, and all we need is a candle to go above, one day confirm above, and create a brand new high, and then move above. And then here is the point where basically I'll be extra bullish, and I'll say, right, that says to me the market has a chance to go up even further. And if this is the case, we've even done the maths. I think we did it, right? Yes, we did, right? We were looking at the $387. So we can pump this even more, right? But what's happening, the fact, Money comes in from the big boys, goes into the smaller ones. So this is what's happening. So this moving ranks, it was 40 something just the other day. Now it's at 36. You know, forget this volume. I mean, you can't forget it. You can see $4 billion trading, which is awesome, right? Sorry, $6 billion volume trading. 607 million. Sorry, 607 million. But look at that market cap. It's nothing. It has chance to grow. Imagine this has a chance to grow to $10 billion, $15 billion. This has an opportunity to capture that. And what does that mean? If we go to 10 from here, what does that mean? That's another 2.5x from where we are today. That's going to be easily a $500 coin. It has an opportunity to do that. And it's a blockchain. It's coming out with all these new things. But what's hyping all of this? Again, fact, news. So sometimes the news is what's going to propel it. But you as a good investor, you are going to try and front run the news. And you're going to be cautious. And you're going to say, okay, fine, I'm going to jump in because I can see the news is coming out. So we know there's so many things on the pipeline coming out for this. And it's getting extremely bullish. And the more people see these pumps, the more people want to jump into it and move up. And we've come back and tested that all-time high. And remember one thing, whenever we test that all-time high, we're bound to break it. And this is what this is. Whether it's going to break it today, whether it's going to break it tomorrow, or whether it's going to break it next month, we don't know. We have to wait and see what the market does. And for us, the market is going to be completely reliant on BTC. And you might argue and say, well, why do you say this? Why do you say BTC? And let me get on daily and let me clear this up. And I want to show you something that you're going to love. So this is BTC. You know, take a screenshot because you might want to compare. And let's keep everything on auto. So we're on auto. We're not doing any manual changes. So this is manual. Let's go on auto. That's it. And I want you to follow this area here. Just follow this area here. And then I want you to look back. And now I want you to see this whole area here. In fact, I'm going to hide the volume as well. I want you to look at all of this here, this pattern here. So you see how this pattern is forming. Now I want to take you to the total market cap. And I want to do the same thing. Delete. Auto. Volume off. And look at this entire pattern here. So what you see from here to here, look at it here. Do you see any difference? This is BTC. Look, BTC. And this is total. Do you see any difference here? So when you don't see any difference here, what do you think all of this means? What does it all mean? It all means that this capitalization is what's leading the market. So when the sentiment moves into this, it kind of moves into everything else. You know? So I hope this kind of makes sense, right? It's what we're talking about. Now, where is it? There was a chart on. So yeah, I hope this kind of makes sense when what we're talking about. So all of this, you can see, it's the same pattern. So this is why I'm not using this as my, how would I call this? I'm not being extremely bullish or bearish or anything like that. I'm just being logical. And I'm saying, well, hold on. If I'm going to be logical and I'm going to see this for what it is, and let me try and get another chart. Hold on. Yeah, I want to get this chart, right? And if I'm being extremely logical, right, what do I see and where do I see it? This is an indicator. This is telling me that be careful. We might come back down to these levels, and you can see all these boxes are still here. We might come back down here, but if we do, does it completely end the market? Technically not, right? Because of the longer trend lines that we have. See this longer trend lines that we have, right? So you see these longer trend lines that we have. So where we are today, even if we came down to the 30-33 level, we're fine. And coincidentally, if you look carefully, this line here, I've had it here all the time. And actually, I'll show you again on the other chart. It will make sense to you. Okay, I know what's happened here. Because I deleted everything, didn't I? That's what I did. So let me go back. I shouldn't have deleted it, but I did. Let's bring it back. It's here somewhere. Sorry, I hate this, but I love the fact that I can hit Control Z and go back to my chart, provided I didn't do anything. Oh my days. It's literally going through every single click I did. You can see every single changes that I made. All right, I can use, actually, no, let me, there you go. There's a lot of changes I made, right? But you can see this line, look, this same line is here. You see what I mean? So when we're looking at this and when we're looking at these trend lines, because we can sometimes just draw these trend lines and say, well, if this is a trend line, if this is points of contact as the bottom of the market, where does that bring us to? And you can see how this converges. And also previously I've talked about how this trend line coming down is not actually a bad thing, provided we can stay above the previous all-time high, which would be the 19,000, right? If we can stay above this. Of course, it's going to be a bear market because the market momentum is going to go and psychology is going to go. But from here, if we do a bounce, we actually have more capital. So the way you do it is you take all your profits around here and you sit on cash. And you can see a lot of USDT printing as well and everything. So sit on cash. You wait for that perfect dip and then you pick it up. I mean, currently, one of the most important, also, I've just noticed this. Let me show you this as well, right? One of the biggest news that we've got currently is this situation here, right? Where we're looking at this, these golden cross. Now, is the golden cross going to come? Yes, it's going to come. By the time we know, it's already going to be late. It's going to happen already. But this golden cross is predicted to happen around the 15th. Now, I know other YouTube channels have talked about how this golden cross could be happening today or tomorrow, but actually, no. Looking at this, and this does a slight good prediction based on certain things. I have mentioned that it could be 2 days before or 2 days after. So we're looking from 15th to the 17th. It will happen. Where are we now? We're on this 50-day. But is all of this bullish? No, because there's another fact that we've got, and I've talked about this as well. So I'm kind of repeating myself on everything, but obviously I understand that some of you guys are new, so you're not understanding this. But look, this is the situation. So when we look at a higher time frame, when in doubt, zoom out, we can see this area here, which is the HMA 104. And I've said it's not easy because in history, you can see every time we try to go above that, we've battled, right? It's not an easy line to get above, but provided we can stay above there, and this is the 50-week moving average, we should be fine. So we should be expecting anything around the 58 moving average, 50 moving average. But ultimately, this is a line we have to battle and get above. And now let's talk about divergence. For example, you can see that we have the stochastic RSI on the weekly pushing down, indicating that the market wants to go down. So we know the market still wants to go down, right? Because all the volume is pointing down. We can see the RSI went up and then it flipped and it says, no, changing our mind. We want to come back down. So can this come down even further? Absolutely. Because look, these are the facts indicating on a higher time frame, we are going to come down. But when we move slightly to another higher time frame, and I've talked about this, when we move over to a higher time frame, like say monthly, what do we see? We see a complete different story. We see this bullish divergence forming. We see how everything is saying, look, we want to move up again because we've spent too much time down here. We want to move up again, right? So this is indicating that, you know, this bull run could be, and this is a possibility, a probability, could not be over. It just wants to keep on going up. Do you know what I mean? So these are the facts, guys. I hope this kind of makes sense. We expect this bearish movement here because it's hard to get above this line. We can have a confirmation here, so we do have a convergence here saying, look, this is what's happening. This is definitely bearish, all right? But when we look at daily stuff, we see completely different stuff here. We see bullish momentum here, daily pointing bullish. You know, if you look at ETC ready to prime to break out, same story, bullish. You know what I mean? So ultimately, we shouldn't be comparing one coin to another. There's 11,700 or 11,800 today probably because of so many scam coins coming out. Yeah, 11,815. We shouldn't be comparing anything. Just be honest about it. There's no point going around saying this is going to do that, that is going to do that. Ultimately, this is one fact that you cannot change, that this is how this entire market since 2020 looks. And it's not since 2020. I can take it back. I mean, here I can take it back to 14th. So let's take it back to March 14th. And let's take this out as well. Let's get rid of all of this, right? And let's do the same here as well. And what do you see, right? So 14th, 2014, 17. Actually, we're getting longer data here. 13. So around here, basically, we can see this, right? So when we zoom in, when we look at this, we zoom out of this, and you can see BTC, and you look at the total market cap, you will be almost able to take this line and put it on top of the BTC, and you'll see it's the exact same pattern. Sorry, this one here. So you can see this is the exact same pattern here, is the exact same pattern here. You can't deny that, you know. And this is actually taking into fact that we've had thousands of coins come into the total market cap since that time. Since the say, you know, this particular candle here, let's just use this. Actually, let's use this low candle. It's a good indicator. January 15th. So since January 15th, all the way to here, we've had thousands more coins add up. But BTC still shows you January 15th. Look at this. Shows you the exact same pattern. So if I even snip into this, hold on. Right? It's the same pattern, guys. Look, same pattern. You can't deny this. How is this even possible? Same pattern. So now you know the total entire market cap trend is the exact same as what you see here. You can't deny this, right? So it is still leading. At some point, I mean, I do believe that Ethereum could possibly start leading. And I have mentioned this many times. I said, look, use Ethereum as an indicator. If Ethereum is also showing a green candle, whenever BTC is pulling out a green candle, then it's a confirmation that that's how the entire market is reacting. And what do we mean by that, right? So let's go into some other charts and talk about this, right? Let's change this chart. I don't need Solana. Let's do some dominance. So we're going to do BTC dominance, 1. And we're going to do Ethereum dominance. Ethereum dominance. And that's all we're going to look at. Just going to look at these two dominants right now. And then one more chart we're going to bring out. One more chart. And listen, guys, if there's coins here that I'm missing out, apologies, but I think this is important. Let's go into the other one. So I want to go to total 3. So I'm using total 3 as my entire crypto altcoin market cap. That's all we want to do, right? Just use the entire altcoin market cap here. And use these dominants, right? Let's delete everything. Forget everything we've got here. Let's delete everything. So this is BTC dominance. BTC dominance drops, we know altcoins pump. Absolutely fine. But normally the indicator is Ethereum. BTC dominance drops, Ethereum dominance pumps. But this time it hasn't. This time we can see Ethereum dominance also dropped. But when we look at the altcoin market, we see the dominance starting to move up. So we can see the entire altcoin market, the 11,000 whatever coins, started to pump. So we can see this data confirming here that altcoins are all included here are pumping, while these two giants are dumping, right? We can use that. And then, for example, today's data, if we look at it, we can see Ethereum is pushing up. And who else is pushing up? We can see this person is, well, kind of dropping. So that means Ethereum is still in the game. But the point I'm trying to make here is this is one way of seeing if we're in a full altcoin degens season. Do you know what I mean? So, and ETH could flip it. I mean, ETH is currently technically a market leader. So don't get me wrong when I say this, right? When I'm saying ETH is a leader, ETH is a leading indicator of how the market works. So even though I'm a BTC bull, you can see how I'm using Ethereum as my indicator for Bitcoin, and I'm using Bitcoin for my indicator for the entire market. You know what I mean? So I hope this kind of makes sense, right? Now let's move over to other stuff. I know I got questions and I can't see the chat, for God's sake. Let me try and see if I can move into the chat, because I have no idea what the chat is right now. Yeah, I can't see anything. I'm not even sure if I'm moving on the stream, but you know what? I'm going to carry on, right? Be a soldier, carry on. So what we're going to talk about. Okay. Let me answer Matt's question actually before I forget, right? Matt asked something, you know, with these interest rates and everything coming in. Money printing is stopping, right? So we're going to go into the market, just talk about, you know, interest rates and whatnot, just while we observe this. So keep an eye on this, but we'll talk about money printing. Money printing is technically stopping. Obviously, we're going to have the yearly inflations. That's also there. But all the money they've printed, they want to now start taxing people, higher taxes and everything. In the UK, obviously, Boris Johnson was the one who promised it a few years ago. I think when he became Prime Minister, he said he's never going to increase that. But currently, he's now fell back on his words, and he's now saying that he will increase the national insurance tax, this, that, whatever. And so many other taxes are coming, right? And this is how they balance everything. Is it going to impact the markets? I think it will a little bit, because that means a lot of the retail, a lot of the people, institutions, businesses are going to be now thinking about all the taxes they have to pay, and are going to be a little more careful on what they invest money into, right? And so it will impact the markets a little bit, but I think the minority. So this is what I want to say, right? So the global population, there's only 3 or 4%, or yeah, I think it's 3 or 4%, or maybe 5% now, are involved in crypto. So we are such a small number. I don't think it's going to impact us as much. We might see it. It will reflect on us quite a big amount, because if we see, majority of the people not investing anymore, it's not going to impact the crypto, but it's going to impact the stocks. And if it impacts the stocks, if retail stop spending money, and they start impacting the stock market, unfortunately, we are going to be impacted as well. Because that's when people want to sit on cash, right? Because the thing that I'm worried about is the stock market crash, which is due. I think it's 10 years overdue. 12 years now, I believe it is, 11 or 12 years overdue. That's the problem I'm looking at. That might take us down. That would be a black swan event. I have talked about it on, I think, 3 or 4 videos ago. I have talked about it, and I was talked about the dates as well. So we do have other events coming as well. I mean, we've got the hard fork for Cardano tomorrow, which could see either, as I said, it could see a massive dump, could be a big success and have a massive pump, right? So dump or a pump. So it could be a situation of sell the news, buy the rumor, sell the news, and then basically, collapse the whole thing. Or it could be an absolute success, and then from that point onwards, it's off to the races, right? So that would be that. And then we've got the 20th of October, where we've got from the 20th to the 31st of October, 20th of September to 1st of October, we've got the infrastructure bill finalization date. We've got Joe Biden, who has to come and sign the paper, and he is rallying and he's talking about it on his, what do you call this? He's talking about it on all of his rallies that he does, and this and that. And look, they want to push it. They want to push it. They've made their mind up. They're just kind of acting and showing you guys. They've already made their minds up. He just needs to publicly sign it and make it a rule. But there is one good thing about all of this. The moment Joe Biden signs that paper and says the infrastructure bill will be taxing cryptocurrency, he just legitimized cryptocurrency for life. It's part of the American bill. It's part of the Constitution. It becomes not, well, I don't know if it's part of the Constitution, but I think taxation is part of the Constitution, right? So it will become part of the country's law, end of the day. That legalizes every single cryptocurrency out there. And I think there's another funny part about this. If someone does pick on it, I mean, I'm not going to pick on SEC, but if someone does, SEC might have a more difficult time. SEC might have a more difficult time. And I think what SEC is going to do is kind of change its strategy, and probably if the infrastructure bill does allow cryptocurrencies and legitimizes it, then SEC is going to actually start try and tax people rather than taking them to court and taking them down. Are you a security? Are you not? I don't think that drama is going to last that long, because of XRP. There's a case about XRP. I mean, if you read the papers, it's a long paper. If you read it, and if you read all the case files, you can see there's funny fundamentals showing up there. SEC might have to back down completely and just kind of go and govern these and make sure they can get enough taxes out of them. I think that's what they're going to be doing later on. So that will be a very interesting subject to talk on, and why I think it's that way, but it's happening. Let's see where it goes. But look, Cardano's pumping. I mean, if you look carefully, it's going to top 200 gainers. All right, Solana coming in. Luna, you can see a volume coming in, volume coming in, volume coming in. These are all the volumes, by the way, guys. We're looking at the volume size of the 200 gainers, and you can see Cardano by the news. You can see it here clearly. It's by the news, right? Atoms pumping, obviously, is super. E-gold still on a rip, still 14% up, still on a rip, right? So not too fussed about that. When we look at the losers, we can see where the money's coming out of. And remember, a few days ago, they were pumping. So all the money that went in there, they're coming out now, and they're moving into the bigger ones. I don't know some of these, but yeah, that's what's happening. Let's have a look at top 50. Ooh. So some of these coins are getting destroyed. And remember, a lot of these altcoins that we see here, they could easily be rug pulls as well. So please do understand, a lot of these end up being rug pulls. Right, top 50 gainers. Look at this: Unify, XYO, Quantum, doing very good. Oh, Quant, sorry, not Quantum, Quant. Top 100, super. FDM still holding, not bad. After the big pump it had, still holding. I don't see much of an issue. But remember, all of these coins that have pumped, actually, let me do this. Every single one of these coins are now going to show you a bearish divergence on the chart. They're going to flash overbought, overbought, overbought. And when they flash overbought, 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 and if everyone reacts to these being overbought, then the money from here is going to go back into the major major coins, right? So the market will take money from these to pump money into everything else, and then take money from everything else and then put it back into all of these, So, because remember, Ethereum, I mean, banks are building on Ethereum. Remember, BTC, countries are making it legal tender. Companies like, what's it called? Those money exchange, money bureau, money change bureau, whatever. They're going to lose money. Or if they want to stay in business, they have to now offer Bitcoin. So if someone wants to go to El Salvador and, going from UK, for example, so we go to a money exchange and we say, can we get the El Salvador money? They have to legally now offer us Bitcoin and whatever El Salvador's money, which is USD, right? They have to offer that to us. They can't deny us. If they do, they're legally breaking the rules and they have to get out of business. So in order for these money exchanges, travel exchanges to be in business, they have to offer this. I talked about, what was it? The MasterCard buying this Cipher something, Crypto Cipher, right? Buying this, the company. Well, remember, it's an intelligence company. It's a crypto intelligence. It sees legitimacy and everything. It analyzes, it audits coins and everything, right? That's what it does technically in the background. It's auditing, right? Which is genuine, which is not, checks out the wallets and constantly sees all of this. It was bought by Barclays. That now doesn't mean Bitcoin. It means the entire global market cap, guys. Entire global market cap. So that's that. But yeah, look, interest rates coming in, not concerned. More concerned about more concerned about the stock market crash. I'm more concerned about that. That's where it will be mostly affected with interest rates, not the crypto. And crypto obviously would be a side effect of the stock market. That's that. Now, let's go into the question. What was it? Rids asked me. He didn't ask. He said, talking about things. So this is the whole subject, and I will come back to this. Centralization versus decentralization. You have a company, you have a crypto, you have, we have 11,000 coins, and say out of those we have about 500-600 blockchains, right? For example, we have Bitcoin. We have these massive Bitcoin mining operators globally spent millions and millions of dollars on mining equipment. Mining it, is it decentralized or is it centralized? Technically, it's decentralized because it's in multiple different countries. Fair play, absolutely fine. And it's absolutely decentralized because anybody could do it. Is it centralized? Yes, because the mining equipment is not cheap. So your everyday Joe can't actually go and get the mining equipment because it's expensive, and he doesn't have a chance to mine it because the people who have the biggest hash power are the guys who are going to be mining it. Just a competition, right? Unless you join a pool and then everybody gets rewarded, but ultimately it costs you money. So it's not an everyday Joe thing, right? So in that sense, there's one way it's centralized because it's all centrally operated via specific miners around the globe, but it's 100% decentralized. That means anybody could join that provided you have the money. Happy days. And you can see some of the companies now are mining this who are listed on stock markets. So that's what centralization versus decentralization is. Ethereum, you needed equipment. It's very similar to BTC. You needed a lot of equipment to mine this. Of course, GPU mining, you can still mine it on a computer, but it wasn't sufficient enough. So in order for somebody to get the reward, you got to still get the equipment to do it. And people have masses of mining farms. In fact, Eth 2.0 will destroy a lot of these miners. These miners are going to be redundant. But what did Eth 2.0 do? Said you only need 32 Bitcoin, sorry, 32 Ethereum. And remember when they announced it, they didn't announce it at this price. They announced it when it was a few $100s or even less than that. They said Eth 2.0 will do this. In order to support Eth 2.0, lock 32 Ethereum and you're going to be a miner. That's what you do. But is it decentralized or is it centralized? Well, funnily, it still is centralized. I'll tell you why. Even though technically, again, like BTC, anybody could do it. So that's 100% decentralized in my opinion. Anybody, any Tom, Dick, and Harry could do this. And there's no limit to how many nodes you can have, right? You can start your own node and have millions of nodes, right, on these two. But here, you still have to be online a specific amount of time. Your computers need to be on. So it's the same thing. Even though we have this staking thing coming, it's still the same drama. I want to see that change. Then we have this one. You know, anybody could go and open a Cardano staking pool. And you can run your own node. And people can come and plug their Cardano there and earn staking rewards. Anybody could do it. Is this decentralized? Absolutely. If anybody could do it, it's decentralized. That allows us to open more nodes. So these are more decentralized, even though they have some centralized form of doing things, right? But anybody could do it. That's the thing. That's the beauty. You have the money and the resources. Anybody could do it. And there's no limit to how many nodes you can have. Awesome. Binance Coin. Can anybody do it there? No, because Binance owns all of its nodes. Or its partners own all of his nodes. This is 100% centralized. 100% centralized. They have not allowed any public member to go and run a node there. You got a problem there. Solana, right? There is no node, right? This is quite funny. I mean, there is some form of a node there, but I wouldn't really call it a node, right? So of course you can mine some, but again, it's a full staking protocol. That means you get the staking rewards. It's a smart contract protocol. So if you stake a certain amount and you provide the governance and all of that, you do get voting rights and you do earn some crypto. But it's more to do with staking. And a lot of these new coins, that's what it is. How much do they have? The total supply. It's not written here, but the total supply here should be 489 SOL. Here, it's coming up different. It should be 489 million SOL should be what we should have. The maximum supply. That should be it. There shouldn't be anything else. So this needs to be updated. How many are out there? 293 million. And actually going back into this, there was a question someone asked me the other day. They said 50% of all SOL are owned by the founders. Incorrect. The founders own 7% in total, but the foundation and the team and everything else own 60%. So it's not 50, it's 60%. If you are going to include everybody, the investors, the hedge funds, and everybody that invested in this from day one, they totally own 60%. But it's on a lock period and it's being released on a time scale. 32 million of these tokens were released to Solana founders back in January of 2021. And then since then, over the next 24 months, another 32 million will be given to them. So by 2023 January, they will have all of the coins released. But if you look at this, 64,000 where the owners will have by 2023, would actually account for, say, if we look at this, would be about 1/5 or 1/6, I believe it is, right? But when we have the 489 million, they're not that big anymore. And if they wanted to dump, they could have dumped now. But the percentage, you got to look at that, right? Sorry, did I say 7%? No, I think it's 7% released now. I think it's 14% in total. That's what they own. So it's not that bad. You know what I mean? And if they wanted to dump, they could have dumped it already. And I'm sure they're dumping already. Why wouldn't they? You know what I mean? Everyone does that. So is it going to put me off? No, because they don't own 100% of it. And remember, the foundation's there to basically, on Solana, a lot of the projects that go and build on there actually can apply for a grant to build on this. So they are actually paying developers with Solana or liquidating Solana to basically build projects on it. But ultimately, there should only be 489 million Solana. That's it. Shouldn't be any more than that, right? So I'm going to wait for those facts to come out. But right now, again, it's market momentum. Let's carry on. Right. Let's carry on. What was the question? Sorry, my bad. Just kind of forgot. Okay, 3,200 nodes. So we're going to go into, where was it? 3,200 nodes. And it's all great to see this kind of stuff, right? So we're going to talk about eGold, and it's 3,200 nodes. So eGold gave everybody a chance to run their own node, but they limited it to 3,200. And they said, you need this much eGold to jump into this. So at that time, most, whoever was the highest bidder obviously got it. But again, highest bidders, so what happens is you can have 1,000 people trying to do, or maybe 5,000 people trying to run a node, but if someone's not going to be able to handle the node or running the node 24/7, they might go off and the next person takes over. But over time, as the price increases, the minimum amount of Elrond required to run this node is getting expensive and expensive. So is this decentralized in that sense? So let's go back into this, right? It's becoming more and more centralized because only the rich and wealthy, the people who could afford to, are running a node because of all of this minimum information. Hey, Bubble. Yeah, so because of this minimum requirement and maximum cap, only the rich can actually have this now, not the poor anymore. And it's not an infinite amount of node probability. So this is selective. You got the money, you can have it. You don't have the money or the capacity to run the nodes, you're off the chain. Do you know what I mean? Isn't this centralized in my opinion? This is what I would call centralization. It's great having a cap and everything, but I have the freedom to go and run my own node here. I can go and buy a Bitcoin miner today and start my own node. And there's nobody stopping me. That's what I would call decentralized. Of course, it's centralized because only the big boys are playing in here. It's centralized because the big boys are playing here. But once upon a time, remember, any Tom, Dick, and Harry with a laptop did it. Do you know what I mean? And the laptops now are much, much more. I mean, the laptops they were using back then were actually, less than what your mobile phone is. And that's what they were doing. And this is how it became centralized because it became more, unique to the equipment you need. And then you've got, where is it? Right, the one we're talking about. We're talking about eGold, right? Where is it? eGold. Here we are. And what do we see here? We see it's not centralized. It was open to everybody, but it's limited, 3,200. That's it. So only the people who can handle the pressure to be in it can only run it. Do you see what I mean? Yes, it's free for anybody to run it, but then you need to have the minimum requirement to go into it. And over time, as the price goes up, and I'm telling you, this is going to go to the moon, right? $500, $600, $700, maybe even $1,000, easy. Because if you just look at the market cap, and you can see where the market cap is going, where it wants to move, right? And you can see how much the total supply is. It's nowhere near where it needs to be. It can easily, from here, it can double. We can do a 2x from here, and 2x from here takes us to $500. So it's happening, but is it centralized or is it decentralized? You tell me, because I, as far as I'm concerned, this is how centralization works. You cap it, you limit it, you only have selective people who can come there, and eventually, over time, the rich take over, the poor just stay poor. You can't run a node there. I know even today, I can run a node here, I can run a node here. I have zero limits to run a node here. I can even run a node here. I don't have any limits telling me that I can't. Do you see what I mean? So this is the kind of stuff I just want to quickly clear away, because you have to start thinking in a particular way. Listen, guys, it's great that you have your favorite coin. I have mine, you have yours. Everybody has their favorite coin. But there's no point being a maxi. I'm not a maxi. I am a maxi in that sense that I own it. But I'm not a maxi when it comes to everything else. Look, I'm honest about it. I have all of these coins. You name it, I'll have all of these coins. I have no issues with them. I don't care how decentralized this is or how centralized this is. I'm in it for the money. I don't care how centralized this is or how decentralized this is. I'm not running a node on this. I don't care about nodes. I don't give a damn about it. I don't give a damn about this because I'm not running nodes. Does that make any sense to you? Why would I care about nodes if I'm not running the nodes? I'm only going by what the market is doing. And so far, the market's doing awesome. I don't care who runs the nodes there or if I can or if I can't. I'm not going to go and open a mining farm, am I? So do I really give a damn about this? No. I don't care if none of these coins are available on a decentralized exchange. It's only available on centralized exchange. I don't care. That's where I'm going to go. I don't care if none of other exchanges, these 406 exchanges, exist or not, and only one, for example, only Coinbase exists. It's the only legal exchange that you can go and buy and sell. I don't care. I'll go to Coinbase and I'll buy what I can. You see what I'm trying to say? Why are we being choosy and picky? Why are we picking on these minuscule, ultra, I don't know, stupid subjects? Oh, this is decentralized. This is not. This is the biggest decentralized platform. No, it's not decentralized. When you can have only 3,200, that means it's selective. Only people who can afford it can run it. Full stop. And a person who can't afford to run it, he gets off, knocked out, and the next person takes over. Who's the next person? You and me, Tom, Dick, and Harry? No. Is it going to be the new guy? No. It's going to be big money. So why can't we just see all of this for what it is, rather than going all hyping over it, right? Why choose one? Why can't you just have all of them? What's wrong with it? Why are we always trying to find differences and say this is doing that, that is doing this? No, here, for example, we had Vision talk about ETC versus BTC looking at bearish and ETC looking bullish. Why? My perspective is different compared to you. You are looking at ETC and I'm looking at the original Ethereum. How about that? That changes everything, right? I'm looking at the original Ethereum and you're looking at ETC. That's the difference, right? So I know the original Ethereum is always going to be the original Ethereum. I know there's other fundamentals and other support coming into this, and this could easily moon and go higher. That's fine. Do I hold any? No. Why? Because I had my time in it. I made my thing. I chose it. I picked it up. I done my thing. It's down here somewhere. No. Yeah, around here somewhere. I let it go. It's gone. So I'm not going to jump back in again. I've jumped that ship already. I'm on a new ship. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to hold on to this for life. And if I am, then that's it. I don't need to believe in anything else. But I have that coin. That coin for me has always been this one. And everything else has been for me to make money. I don't care who owns this. I don't care how centralized this. I don't care if the bank owns this. I don't give a damn about it. I'm in it for the money. And so far, I'm in profit. I'm happy. Right? I don't care who runs this and what it does. It goes to the moon. Makes me more money. Happy days. I'm in it for the money. I don't care how many, what do you call this? Where is it? Let's go back to this, right? Right? Because it's become a bit of a nuisance. Like everyone talks about it. And it's like very annoying. It's like, guys, do we really, really have to go on about this every single time? Because it's kind of silly. And I see this quite a bit. And I'm like, it's silly. We should appreciate that this was down somewhere below over here somewhere. And it's come up here. We should appreciate that. We've made money. Right? I mean, do I care if it's decentral? Are you going to run a node? That's my question to you. Honestly, my question to you, all of you Elrond guys out there, and remember, if it's starred, I own it, right? So for me, it's one of my favorite coins. If it's starred, it's one of my favorite coins that I've invested. I mean, this one I'm out, so there's no point, right? I own it. So this is mine as well. But am I going to go all ballistic on it and crazy on it? And then, everything, every day is going to be about this? No, there's plenty of other fish out there. I'm holding it. That's it. And I've told you, this is not even on an exchange. I've moved it away. This is a coin that I bought. I took off the exchange and I left it off the exchange. Why? Because I believe in it. Am I going to run a node? No. Are you going to run a node? No. So if you're not going to run a node, why are you even talking about a node? Tell me. Did you buy this because it was decentralized? Did you know about the nodes before you bought it? I bet you didn't. You just jumped in because it was something good to buy. It was a good price. That's the reality of majority of the cases. And then people become maxes. So why? You know what I mean? It's one of those kind of things. I just want to say, why, guys? Calm down. It doesn't matter who's centralized. It doesn't matter who's decentralized. All right? If you're in it for the money, it doesn't matter. And also, if you have your favorite coin, pick it, take it, move it over the exchange, and forget about it. That's your favorite coin. That's where you put your belief and your trust in. And there's plenty to choose from. So I hope this kind of makes sense. I'm not going to drag this any longer. Yeah, it's been a long time. But I hope this kind of answers all your questions, guys. We don't need to look at certain things. We don't need to be maxis and all sorts and say, oh, this is doing that, that is doing this. Guys, forget it. What's the point? We don't want to go around thinking, oh, the market's going to do this, market's going to do that. Just look at the entire market and see what the market is doing. Is the market invalidating itself? Even at this point, is the market invalidating itself? Right? And we talked about this previously as well. We said, look, if you just take a measurement from where we went to up to here, when does the market invalidate itself? Around here. Are we going to come back? No, because remember, we went, and I'll just leave that. Let me just go here. We went from $300 billion all the way to currently, the highest we had was $2.5 trillion. 3 to 2.5, right? Just imagine the number. That's what we did. For us to invalidate where we are right now, we need to do, right, not this actually, sorry, my bad. So for us to just say for here, for example, for us to invalidate all of this, we have to go to $1.7 trillion. We went all the way to 1.2 and we came back again. Do you know what I mean? And ultimately, over time, more coins come in, thousands more, hundreds more joining the platform, are all going to be pumping. This market cap is not coming down. And then people taking the profits from here are always going to come back for now. For now. So remember what I'm saying. For now, they're always going to come back to these big boys. You know? So please do understand. But this drama regarding like being, you know, super fans or something, no point. No point. You know? For example, let's bring you back here. Because these are facts. This is a fact. A fact that nobody can deny. I've mentioned it on the video, right? I jumped into Solana down here for what? Is it my most favorite cryptocurrency? Am I a Solana maxi? No. Why did I buy Solana? Because I found an opportunity, so I picked up Solana. I held onto my bags. Happy days. Solana pumped for me, made me a whole bunch of money. Happy days. I knew BTC is going to have a dump, and I knew Solana was going to be a good hedge, so I bought some more. Strategic, nothing else. Other than that, do I give a damn about Solana? I don't. I'm in it for the money. When the market ends, am I going to hold any Solana? Probably hold some from the profits, but other than that, I'm taking all my money out. It's simple logic. You know what I mean? I'm not going to fall in love with it. No, it doesn't work like that. You know, and then if somebody asks me, well, you know, why are you in love with BTC? Well, look what it's done for me. Why wouldn't I be? And I've also taken my initial out, so why wouldn't I be? You know, and same question applies. I was here, I made some money, I got out. That's it. Actually, I bought it down here somewhere. But what I'm saying is around here somewhere, made enough money. I was like, okay, it's a bag I don't want to hold. Too much headache. I'm out. So, do I regret it? No. Is it going up? Of course. Is it going to give me, is it going to go to $1,000? Maybe. But is it too late for me? No. If it goes to $1,000, I'll jump in at $1,000 because then it has a chance to go to $2,000. So, yeah, I hope this kind of makes people understand. Guys, no point being maxis on anything. Just chill with your coin, have your favorites. There's no harm at all. No harm at all, right? And convergence, divergence, you know, looking at convergence, divergence, ETC going to pump. This is giving me a divergence saying, yes, ETC wants to pump. Ethereum Classic wants to pump. And then when I look at the volume, I see how pathetic it is. So I'll leave that to you. Is it going to pump? Of course, if the market pumps, everything's going to pump. So what do we have to look for? We have to look for the market leaders and see what they are going to do and if they are going to give us that opportunity to pump, right? And the worst case scenario, just for all of you, again, take a screenshot if you have to. No worries. Thank you. Oh, El Babu, thank you very much, bro. I didn't see you here. Thank you, bro. Nice to see you on the show. Look, I've had this always on my thing. You can go back to any video, you'll see I've flashed it many times. Go to any video weeks ago, months ago, you'll see this. We've been talking about this pattern for months now. It's been there on the chart. Not a single dot has been changed from here. The only thing I added was this, right? This was added on, you know, maybe about a month ago or 2 months ago, this was added. And I said, anywhere here, this price, official bear market, 25K, official bull market, you know, starts when we go above this $59,000-$60,000, not even at the 58. When we go, this is 58 is going to be a test. But when we go above the 60,000, why? We take the facts in the chart, nothing else. So are we bearish? Of course we are. Are we ever going to be bullish? No. Even here at $47,000, when we broke that level here the first time and we went to the $47,000, I was on a stream. I got off the stream and I cancelled my trade. I'm not going to trade this because it wasn't right. It didn't feel right. This was not supposed to happen because we went parabolic. I mentioned how this line was a dangerous line. We need this line to be like this, not like this. And this is what happened. It went parabolic. Something going up too fast like this is bound to come down, right? It's bound to come down. So we know this. So what do we want to see? We want to see this kind of a movement, something like this. This is not that bad, but even then we want something to be like this. This is the best. So what does this all indicate? Market has to come down, come back and test these lines and come into a more comfortable move. So the trend line needs to be a little bit more comfortable compared to where we were here. This is the whole reason I didn't want to trade. I said, no, I'm not trading. I need this market to go sideways and confirm. When I saw this move here, I was happy. I was happy. And currently, as you can see, we've got a second move now forming here. So technically, this is a second move that's just forming here. So we've got a lovely little, much more flatter. So you can see this is, this is too steep. And this is flat, right? Much more flat. And this is what we want. We want something to be flat and move up slowly. Hopefully create this and then move up slowly. This is what's going to give us the more power moves and maybe even a 6-7 figure, right? 6-figure BTC this year. But if we don't see this flat move and we think this, then this line here gives us a market top and we end. This is it. It's a fake out and we're gone. So I hope you understand, because I understand that you're new to the channel. You haven't seen a lot of this stuff. But this is what it is. I haven't changed my chart. I will take all of this off and I'll take it off and I'll go and hit that button in the live. So I'll go here and I'll save the layout in the live when I decide to change this. But until then, every line here is valid. Every target here is valid. This is the if scenario. If we go here, we continue. If we go here, we go die. So that's how low. So you're talking about 45 to be a bottom, and I'm talking about 27 to be the bottom. Anything below that, we're in an official bear market. You have to follow the trend. The trend is your friend. And so far we're above the major trend. We're forming a minor trend, but the minor trend hasn't formed yet. It hasn't confirmed. So here's, you can see a failed trend. So we get rid of this. Let me show you. All right, this is a failed trend. Get rid of this. All right, let's get rid of this for a second. So that was a failed trend. Get rid of this. This was a failed trend. Let's get rid of this. And now let's leave this on the chart as a potential trend line, and let's save it. How about this, right? Because we can't use these. These were all failing trends. This is a secured trend. So you can see this. This is 1.2.3 touch points. This is a secured trend. All right. Now we're here. Let's create a brand new trend, and basically let's try and move up or go down. Whatever we do, we need to decide, right? Whatever we do, we need to decide. Also, when you look at the facts, right, I'll show you some points here, right? So there's this point here, and there's this point here, and I'll do a range just to kind of show you. And there's this point here. These are the facts in the chart, right? And I'll take a box and I'll draw a box on these lines, right? So this is the fact in the chart. Sorry about that. So these are the facts in the chart. And what does the facts in the chart say? That we cannot go below this. If we go below this, we break this trend line. So you see how this is confirming that if you break this trend line, then you're going down, because that will then give us lower lows. We don't want to break this low. If we break this low, we're going down even further. And the same story, when we break this low, we go down further. You see what I mean? We broke this low, go further. Break this low, go further, right? To the point where we might come and create a situation. I've explained this before as well. So to the point where we could come and create something like this. And we're almost doing it, by the way, but it's still slightly flat. If we end up doing something like this, that's the new trend line. And then I would say, okay, guys, be careful. Do you see what I mean? So you have to really understand trend lines for what they are, market structures for what they are. And also talking about market structure, let's bring a market structure out. Oh, where is it? And let's take some of this off. Structure, you have to understand this. Look, weekly structure, you can see this is battleground. These two lines, in between these two lines is a battleground. Whatever happens, we cannot go below this line, right? We go below this line, we are screwed, full stop. All right, we even test this line, I think we're going to break down. But we need to make sure we keep it up there the whole time. And by looking at the story, you can see bulls are trying their best, but there's not enough momentum. So I hope this kind of makes sense. On a larger time frame, you can see all of this. So yeah, just be patient, guys. Other than that, I'm not going to say anything else. But looking at the market, I'm glad I'm not seeing USDT here. So when we go and look at all of it, you can see that means there is some sell-off. There is some sell-off in the USDT because there's some coins coming back into USDT. So that does worry me. But when I'm looking at everything and I'm looking at these volume also increasing, means there are altcoins being sold coming into USDT and all of these coins, right? So they are coming back into all of these coins, which is a good thing to see. But as I said, it's a matter of us holding those lines, holding these important trigger points, these important lines, and see where it goes. And when you're in doubt, remember, just zoom out, guys. Zoom out. Weekly, monthly, right? Weekly, monthly. That's what you need to see. Weekly, monthly. On a monthly, are we trending down? No, we're trending up. Do you know what I mean? You know, when you want to see the facts, just use a line chart. That will give you a fact. All right. So on a monthly, you can see that if we go anywhere below the 34, we're fucked. Very simple. Excuse my language, but that's what it is, right? So yeah, I hope this explained everything to everyone. And I hope I don't have to go on about this again. You know, these whole subjects about centralization versus decentralization. If you're not doing it yourself, why does it concern you? Do you know what I mean? That's the biggest argument that I have with anybody. Are you concerned? Are you doing it? No. So why are you even talking about it? You know, if you're holding it, tell me you're holding it and you're a strong believer. You've got conviction. I agree with you and I'm with you, because that's how you should be. You should have conviction in your favorite coin. But that's it. Just keep it there. You know, unless you are running your own node, no point talking to me about a node. Unless you bought it because it was solely 100% decentralized, then there's no point talking about it. And if you're talking about decentralization, well, when big money jumped into the scenario, it's not decentralized anymore. It's more centralized. You know, when everybody, so if only the big institutions, like for example, Ethereum, technically, as I said, anybody could do it, but most of the people running it are centralized corporations. Bitcoin mining is becoming corporations. Do I care? No, I don't. I don't care, because as long as I know the market is still going up, I don't care. Do you know what I mean? So, just be real about it. That's all I'm saying. Be real, you know? And this is just the start of crypto, by the way. I mean, we're at what? 2 trillion, 2 point something trillion today. What's today's price? Let's have a look. We're at 2.1 trillion today. Well, I'm the only guy who did this. I put a fib and I did this. And I said, well, where we should be going. And look, this is me. This is how insane I am. I said, based on what's happening, based on how many coins are coming onto the market, based on the fact that institutions are still interested, based on the fact that new companies and massive corporations are investing into crypto projects, we could see all of this market only going one direction. Based on the fact that we have a lot of funds coming into these coins, and this one, for example, you know, a big interest from institutions, could even be number one at one stage. Everyone's all hyping and being, I don't care. It can be number one just because it has more money in it. It's not a problem. And it should, by now, it should have had more money. It should have had 6 times more money. 18 million coins, 17 million coins. Sorry, 117 million coins. So, you know, think about it. This should have had 6 times more money, in my opinion. You know, it's such a great coin. It should have had 6 times more money. Why hasn't it got it? Because it hasn't, because most of the money's here. So when this becomes 800 billion, right, is it still anything compared to what this is? No. If this becomes 800 billion, it only doubles in value. That's all it does. But it still has 117 million coins and still printing. Do you see what I mean? What difference does it make to this? No, it still has 18 million and that's the value. You divide this, you take this number and you divide it by that. That's it. And you take whatever, 800 million, and divide it by that, and that's what you're going to get. Does it change anything? When Ethereum flips BTC, what's it worth? 6,600? Wow. We just did 6,600. Great. You know what I mean? So, guys, just look at it for what it is. Yeah, other than that, I'm not going to make it any longer. Thank you very much for coming to the show, guys. I hope you guys didn't get annoyed with my crazy rant today. Because I was kind of annoyed, I'll be honest with you. I was kind of annoyed. I'm like, it's a regular thing. Over and over again, we have these, guys coming over, and I appreciate that. And don't disrespect to anybody. You have your shows, you have your things, you have your coins, right? You come in, some guys are Cardano maxis, some guys are Bitcoin maxis, some guys are Ethereum maxis, fine. In fact, someone actually mistaken me for a Cardano maxi. And I was like, are you stupid? I told you in 2018 to buy as many Cardano as you can. And to the point, I even said, just for the sake of it, buy $100 worth or £100 worth. But you didn't understand. And I've been going on about to a lot of people before Cardano even went to $1. I said, buy Cardano, buy Cardano, buy Cardano. For what? To make money. Because what were you in it for? You're not a believer. Clearly, you never believed in crypto anyway. You're a skeptic. You're joining and you want to make money. And I want you to benefit. So I said to you, buy Cardano. But since then, have I mentioned Cardano to anybody? No. Have I asked anybody on the videos or anything? Have I said, buy more Cardano? No. I said, Cardano has the possibility to do this, but let's be realistic and let's hype it. This is the facts. I've never said to anybody, what did I mention recently? I said, e-gold, Solana. Why? Because those are the ones that's going to make you some money. Other than that, if it's not going to make you any money, why am I going to talk about it? Because remember, I know 99.9% of the people that come on YouTube or anything like this, or have, follow social media on Twitter and everything, they're not in it because they believe it. No. They're following the guys who believe it. They're in it to make money. Why deny this fact? I'm not. I know I'm in it for the money, and I'm going to continue to be in it for the money. You know what I mean? I want to make more BTC, and that's all I care about. So, just admit the thing. Don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt yourself. That's more important. But yeah, other than that, like, share, subscribe, smash that like button. I hope, I didn't annoy too many people today. I'm sure I have. I'm sure a lot of people just kind of left the show because they didn't really like how I'm going on about it. But you know what? Fact hurts sometimes. Some will appreciate, others won't. But at the end of the day, fact is a fact. Who cares? I'm here just to show you the facts. And you can see when I talk about show me, when I say to people, show me the proof, show me the proof, or what I did today is pretty much what I'm asking for. Show me some data, show me something, show me who talked about it, show me who's giving you what. Because everything on this video, I showed you. I showed you my chart. I showed you based on the chart. I showed you dates on the charts. I showed you patterns on the charts. We talked about the centralization versus decentralization, not comparing one or two. We compared pretty much most of the major ones. And we talked about what decentralization really looks like and what centralization actually looks like. We talked about capacities and control, right? When we have 3,200 nodes versus 1,000 nodes, for example, that's control. Why would you control how many nodes there could be? What's your problem if people win or lose? It's not your problem because you want to control that. You know what I mean? So these are the kind of things, like, for example, Facebook with their DM coin. They're trying to launch their DM coin. They're still trying hard, by the way. But who did they choose as their node service providers? All the major corporations like Google, Facebook, and this and that. All the major, they're going to run their own nodes. Big boys are going to run the nodes. Go and see how much money you need to have in order for you to even run a node. And look at the paperwork to run the node. So how centralized is that? Do you know what I mean? And then you've got a company, a coin called, what was it, Electronium. Apparently you can mine it on your phone. Well, now you can't even mine it on your phone. It was all fake anyway. They raised $40 million, I remember, during 2017 ICO bubble. They even made a phone at one point. And apparently you can mine them. Mine what? There's nothing. There was absolutely nothing. It's just an algorithm running on your phone, making you look like as if you mined something. And they claimed that they were mining it for you. Mining what? Where is it? Do you know what I mean? So understand, guys. Let's be real. Let's be real, right? And let's continue this journey and just stay real. Calm. No hype. No FUD, none of that business. Just stick to the facts, what the chart tells us, and move forward with this. So yeah, I know I feel kind of bad as well. I know, obviously I'm angry and kind of bad at the same time because I'm stating all of these facts. I shouldn't be stating these facts, but they are what they are. They are absolutely what they are, and nobody can change that, right? And the market's hot. Market's hot. And remember one fact, guys. Whenever the market tells you that, something is overbought based on the fact that it's pumping, it doesn't necessarily mean 100% it's going to dump. It's something us traders would use to kind of indicate when it's a good time to buy, when it's not a good time to buy. So for example, here, when I'm looking at this data, it's telling me it's a good time to buy. And I'm also looking at this. I don't even know how to show you this. I'm looking at these volumes. All right, and I haven't seen low volumes like this in other coins. This is low volumes. For me to be really excited, knowing that the market's coming in, I need to see at least a green candle as high as this. We're not even talking about these. These are pumps. That's a pump and then a dump. We're just talking about these kind of coins. But look at it, it's flatline. Look at the volume, it's flatline. So I hope this kind of makes sense. And by the way, these candles are coming. So if BTC moves, these type of candles are coming, and that's when you decide to take your profit or take your initial out. That's what I would do. Do you know what I mean? These are coming, but you got to just look at the action. Look, it dead, and then it pumps during the market cycle. Dead, 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 dead. Pumps during the market cycle. It's a common theme everywhere. It doesn't matter which coin you look at. Every coin will have the same story, right? Every single coin. Just look at the volume, and you understand what we mean by the volume, right? When you look at it, you see market peaks, it also peaks. And then look at this, exactly here, massive dump, right? So the dumps happen, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't want to go on about it anymore. Maybe we'll catch up on this subject again next time. But yeah, adios, my amigos. I know I've probably pissed off a few people today, but you know what? It's hard, but someone's got to state the facts, right? Someone's got to state the facts. You know, we have our favorite coins. We believe they're going to do something. And we play the market in a certain way, but we shouldn't get the wrong message and do the wrong things. And just to finish the show off, let's do one thing, pretty much. Because of where we are today, there's one thing we have to look at. All right, we hit that target. So let's move this. So theoretically, we can use this, and theoretically, we can use this. So this is all theoretic. If we are going to see a dump, we could see a dump to, worst case dump, to 186. That's the worst case dump. And then the best case dump, just bring it here. Close enough. So best case dump should bring us to this. So 209. So we could see anything. Best case 209 would be a good buyback zone, unless they decide to pump it. And again, everything is showing it's high, it's high. Oh, it's on a bearish divergence. Yeah, it's on a bearish divergence, but if it pumps, if they decide to pump, what are you going to do about it? Nothing. So it can still pump up. If we did come down, then we are expecting these levels, 209 and 186, and this is on a very short time frame, right? So we could expect this. Now, if we expected a pump from where we were yesterday, so on a short time, we could see a 258. On a slightly longer time frame, we could expect a 283 in the next few days. You know what I mean? Even if not today. If this pump continues, we can even see that. So I'm just going to leave it there for you guys. This is eGold. Hope this kind of helps. BTC, let's go back into BTC if I was going to do a BTC one. BTC so far, I just see dumps, nothing else, right? Until we have a lovely little thing, what would you call this? So BTC, I have to look at it on a longer time frame, actually, funnily, coincidentally, because the current time frame doesn't exist. It's really, really bad. So yeah, I mean, look, that 39 is still flashing. So on BTC, if we are going to have the worst of the worst, it has to be this, because everything else, look, because we went so fast and we went parabolic, now we're having this sideways movement. This is brick showing us, flashing to us, 39k would be the lowest point we could expect. So yeah, it's a difficult one here. And also, if I was to say we did a flip from here, and this is going to be insane what you're about to see. Not many people will show you this. If we were to do a flip from here, then we can go back to 54k, right? It's another way of doing it, because remember, the top of a red candle is actually the bottom. So if we did do a flip from here, we can go back to here ultimately and see where, you know, how the market moves from there. So yeah, interesting facts. But let's see what happens. Let's see how far it goes. Also, I want to do one more thing here as well. Just try and see if I can find a short term. So let's do this and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we've got this level here. this line here. So I'm going to leave that there. And then this line here. So let's tell you what all of this means. What this means is very simple. Just look at these areas here. If we dump and we have a hard dump, continue with this dump over the weekend, we could come to 39,353 and find support. Simple as that. And this is just me doing a line based on Fibonacci and a line, right? So 39 to 40. So 40 to 39, that would be the dump zone. Okay, so 40 to 39. So there's about $1,000 difference there, margin there, not margin, area. So this would be the dump zone. Worst case scenario, right? If we had a pump, then our pump range is actually slightly bigger. This is our pump range. So the pump range is showing us that if we did have a pump, we could come back to that $48,000 level. $48,000 level, so you can see the Fibonacci 48,700. We might actually come back to 48,000 if we ended up having a pump, and then we could expect a rejection. But if we break that, then we can shoot over to 54, which is awesome, right? And which is not, you know, funnily it's higher than where we were recently. So this, and I'm doing this on a weekly, guys. So understand this is on a larger time frame. This is not on a shorter time frame. I'm not doing daily stuff here. Right, that's the reason why I'm using these weekly candles as a worst case scenario and as a best case scenario. So you can see if we did pump, then we could immediately go to 48, find a rejection, come back down, you know, maybe up to the 786 or something, and then try and test the 54 again. But if we did have a worst case scenario, that would bring us to 40 to 39 range. And I hope this kind of helps. So other than that, guys, I'm not going to make this any longer. Adios, my amigos. Thank you very much for being on the show. Yeah, there's really nothing else to talk about, because actually I was kind of disappointed. Not disappointed, but it was good. I mean, these are good questions. I think it helps everybody. I hope anybody watching this video will find value and actually understand and try and open their minds and look at things more clearly, because we don't want closed minds. Look at things in an open perspective and understand it for what it is. You know, let's be real with ourselves first, than anything else. Let's ignore the noise, ignore the FOMO, ignore the hype, ignore everything, and ask yourself the question: what do you believe in? What is it that you're looking for? What is it that you're in crypto for? You know, did you buy it for the money? Did you buy it because you believe it? Are you going to be trading it? What is it? You know what I mean? Did you buy it because it's decentralized? And if it is, then you might as well go for the most decentralized, which means anybody could run a node at any given time of the day, right? Without any restriction. And so far, as I said, BTC and Ethereum are the only two that I can run. I'm not going to include the others. Of course, there are others out there, but I'm just going to specifically mention the main two, as they are out there, to be the only two that I could actually run my nodes on anytime I want. I could open it up, start running a node tomorrow if I wanted to. No issues at all. Nobody's going to be able to stop me.